Hello and welcome to Hire Results, where business, talent, and workforce interconnect. I'm Melody Reagan, the CEO of I2I Workforce and your host. Hire Results airs every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on IPTV as well as on I2I Workforce's Facebook page, which you can find at facebook.com/Hire Results. We're really glad to have you here. We cover all things HR throughout the life cycle of a worker, as well as you and your career. Now, today we're going to talk about an amazing trend that's happening in the market, and that's business process outsourcing and contracting. Contracting and alternative work arrangements for some industries are encroaching on 30% of the workforce. And one of the trends in the businesses that I get the opportunity to work with, it's going up and up and up, the number of contractors they use. When I first started my career, it used to be vertical integration was what it was all about. And what that meant is a business owned every part of their supply chain. That's where they felt they had control. Today, we're going in just the opposite direction. In fact, more often than not, because we have rapidly changing markets, shorter product life cycles, businesses are trying to achieve faster results with minimal cost. And how can they do that? They can do that with outsourcing and contracting. It's a major trend. Now, here's one that I'm going to share with you. Business process outsourcing and contracting, two words that actually have slightly different meanings. Business process outsourcing as a market is all about outsourcing a service, whereas contracting is when you bring an individual in for a specific task. Interesting to me, I think the lines are blurring. It's kind of like business process outsourcing or contracting. It all blurs together today. And here's how much so. There was a recent article by the Wall Street Journal where they interviewed the CEO of Virgin America. Interestingly enough, statistically, Virgin Airlines, if you look at them, they have the greatest ratio of revenues per employee. Why is that? They're outsourcing so much of their operations, from baggage handling to catering, and of course through to IT, which is one of our classics. The CEO is currently committed to outsourcing as many functions as possible so that they do not, as many functions as possible that are not customer focused and facing, so that they can have better control over their operations and what I refer to as their secret sauce. So what are the benefits of doing this? Well, there's many, and today we're going to jump in, and I have an amazing guest. It's actually a business partner of mine. With us today is Erin Beckstein, who is the COO of Crazy Good Marketing, which is a marketing agency that does a lot of outsourcing. Welcome to the show, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
Really glad to have you here today. I'm actually very excited to be in conversation with you. So before we jump in, would you do me a favor and tell everybody a little bit about you and Crazy Good Marketing?
Good morning, good afternoon. Hi, I'm Erin Beckstein, again as Melody introduced me, COO of Crazy Good Marketing, and we work with many clients to do that outsourced marketing, which is a new way of doing business, and we're finding great success in this contract relationship with our clients.
Fantastic. And and it's that online, offline, digital agency, and you guys do everything in marketing, which is pretty cool.
We do.
All right, so a couple of questions that I have. Let's jump into this with outsourcing. You know, if you're a business and you're thinking about outsourcing, what should you think about outsourcing? What should you maybe keep in-house and what should you maybe outsource?
Well, it's easy for me to share in relating in the marketing agency how we're working with our clients, and if they have a need that has to do with their website or with search engine optimization. If they have a director of marketing or a marketing person in staff, usually that person is a generalist who is not owning the expertise of each of these skills. Considering an outsourced agency that then can bring in specific expertise per skill can only enhance the marketing efforts that they have.
You know, and adding to that, obviously you all know, I2I Workforce, we do outsourcing. We're outsourced HR. Common functions for outsourcing, HR is a common function. Believe it or not, marketing is not necessarily the same common function, but it is not for business process outsourcing, but it is for contracting. So Crazy Good Marketing is unique in doing both. HR, IT, Customer service, call centers. Everybody is running outsourced call centers. Very common functions. But here is when you're thinking about what should you keep in-house and what should you outsource, one of the things that you should be thinking about is what is your secret sauce? Your secret sauce should stay in-house. And I go back and Erin and I have had this conversation because we think strategically about where the business is going and what we're going to do and what services we're going to offer. Years ago, Coors, who is one of our local fabulous companies, Coors Beer, and what they did is Coors was a vertically integrated business. They grew their hops, they harvested them, they made the beer, they had IT in-house, they had distribution. And one day they got up and they said, wow, we make beer. And what they wanted is, as the market was changing, to outsource all the way end to end. And what they started doing is they started peeling back the layers of the onion and outsourcing key functions so that they got to focus on making beer. So when you're thinking about what is your business, think about what is your secret sauce. You don't want to outsource your secret sauce. What you want to do is outsource functions that are important, but they're not your secret sauce. And also, one of them that Erin and I always talk about, marketing, and I love that you brought this up about the specialization. If you were to get a full marketing team like Crazy Good Marketing can provide, it would cost you $500,000 a year in salaries and all of your overhead because there's so many specialties. A lot of firms can't afford that, and you wouldn't be able to keep all of them busy. By outsourcing those functions with the team, you get the right talent at the right time and the amount that you need. And you can do it for less than the cost of a single person. That's good economies of scale. So you need expertise with good economies of scale. So along those lines, Erin, if you could share with me, when would you say it's not so good to outsource?
It is not good to outsource if it's a critical function of your organization. Those things that you're protecting your secret sauce, as Melody said. You want to keep the functions close to you that are trade secrets, that are part of your operation, that make you special and deliver your competitive edge.
By the way, you have a couple of clients that you want to reference or share some examples that you work with that, like in-house, we're doing the outsourced marketing, but what are some of their secret sauce functions?
So a few of our clients, for example, we've got a client that does commercial real estate. They really have the relationships with their clients. They've got that one-on-one. They're doing the follow-up to make sure that they're continuing the relationship and understanding the needs of their clients. But where we come in and support that is that we help them understand what the client life cycle is, so we can make recommendations what they should be doing internally to help build on that relationship and produce the next steps, such as sending them a bottle of wine in appreciation for closing a deal. That would be something that they would initiate. But we can come back and make recommendations and saying, let's talk about your email marketing strategy. When should you be reaching out and re-engaging in conversation? Just considering that whole strategy, the whole customer life cycle, and what's outsourced in the marketing that we can produce for them, such as their social media, such as their social selling. And even with the social selling, although that's relationship building that the clients are doing, many times we can help our clients build those relationships digitally and help them so when they do come face to face with the clients and the targets that they want, that they're successful.
By the way, I love the example of marketing. And the reason I asked Erin to be here today is what I love about it is the specialty. When you're thinking about outsourcing, you need to think about expertise. And, marketing is, in my opinion, one of the more critical functions of any business. You want to produce leads, you want to nurture those leads, you want people to become customers, businesses to become customers, and you want to bring them back again. Well, guess what? It takes a tremendous amount of specialization. You're sitting here talking about its website, SEO, social media. In the digital world that we live in, those are very specialized skills to really know what drives SEO, how to effectively use social media. And then let's take video. Video, as we always say, is the new paragraph. And what is it? By 2019, it's going to be what, like 80%, 85%? Yeah. I mean, it is so huge. Video is growing. And guess what? YouTube has surpassed Facebook online. To have someone who knows how to edit, shoot and edit a video, that's also a specialized skill. Not to say you can't do certain things on your phone, but when you're trying to take it to that next level, you need that expertise. So when you're thinking about outsourcing, you want to think about that expertise, but you want to keep your secret sauce, as we always refer to it, in-house. And part of your outsourcing helps you make your secret sauce even better. All right, so what are some of the things somebody should think about when they're looking to get an outsourced partner? What are some of the things I ought to consider? And we started off with, we've already said, do they have the expertise in the team?
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Expertise in team. I think it's really important that you have a good cultural fit, that you have a relationship and there's trust. So the team that you're working with, you should be able to come into a collaborative mode, that you should be able to say, do I trust you that I'm going to give you feedback and that you're going to listen to my feedback? Do we have a relationship? Am I putting the time and energy into this relationship to give you the information that you're going to be successful? But then that team is paying attention to you as a whole and saying, I hear where you're coming from. I understand what your brand is, what your messaging is. I understand your strategy. And then we're able to bring those tactics and those strategies into play and deliver, which is huge. That comes into the delivery. Your team that you work with needs to be delivering. You need to have set expectations of what you're going to accomplish. There needs to be key performance indicators. You need to know that what you're doing is successful. So if your team is not producing reports for you or sharing how your initiatives are successful or sharing a timeline, if you're not on the same page for the goals that you're looking to accomplish, it most likely will not be a successful relationship.
By the way, those are excellent points. One thing when I have conversations with business owners and leaders about outsourcing and business process outsourcing, one of the things that it's a very interesting dynamic, and I consider this a little bit of a mistake because it's not core to the business. It's kind of like they don't put the same energy into it. Well, if it is a function or tasks that are important to your supply chain, your delivery and your success, treat it just like you would something that's in-house. You need to make sure there's a cultural fit. And it's exactly what you said. You need to make sure that you've identified the appropriate key performance indicators, that you're measuring it. The other things that you should look at, obviously, cost, right? Mm-hmm. Is it coming in at a reasonable value? Here, hour for hour, if you hired one person, it's going to cost you potentially a little more because you're not paying the taxes and the insurance and all of the overhead that another agency might have. However, think about it. If you were to have somebody who was sitting around for 40 hours and not staying full up versus I need that talent 5 hours a week, mm-hmm. you are by far better off financially in that trade-off. So as much as that hour may cost you a little bit more, but when you're comparing companies that you're going to work with, you need to look at cost. The other one that I always tell people, and I know you and I have regular conversations about contracts. And one of the things that's unique in the Crazy Good Marketing contract is you don't do long-term arrangements. So you give them massive flexibility.
And the other thing that's really for Crazy Good Marketing is protecting your assets. You should consider, is your assets part of your property, or is the contractor that you're working with, do they own all the assets they're producing for you? And then if for some unfortunate reason you part ways, you lose access to all of those assets. That's a critical point that I think everyone should keep front and center when going into these arrangements, these relationships.
Excellent point. I think that is absolutely the other one that Erin and I talk about with clients is tools and operationals. Erin already brought up fit and cultural fit and how you engage. You want to make them part of your team. What are the tools? And this also relates to the assets. What are the collaboration tools? Are there certain functions that are on site or are they remote? Mm-hmm. How are they being managed? How do you communicate with each other? And how can you track your engagement? And what are some of the tools that you use at Crazy Good Marketing?
So some of the tools that we use, we have one tool, our collaboration tool is Teamwork, which is a great platform that the client and our contractors can come forward, track deliverables, track expectations, track billing, track timing. So a client can come in and see exactly how much time our team has spent on the work for them. They have that kind of control to monitor that 24/7. We also have Dropbox, which we take pride in saying that we want our clients to own all of their assets. So as soon as we produce a postcard, a business card, a video, a brochure, we upload it into Dropbox so the client has immediate access. And if but by some chance that they need to make a quick tweak or revision, anybody on their team has the ability to go in and do those quick revisions to stay on track and get something done quickly. So we try to work with our clients to be reactive to them and fit their needs and get them in a place where they can produce things quickly and not be waiting on us or not be waiting on a response if for some reason they need access to documents.
By the way, I love that you brought that up, the in terms of Dropbox, et cetera, Teamwork. One of the things that with Teamwork that Crazy Good Marketing does is they make sure any logins to any accounts, et cetera, everything is under the client's name if it's the client's. Also making sure that you have appropriate login information. You know, this goes back to exactly what you were talking about with the IP and is it a work for hire in your contract. Your contract with your vendor matters. Make sure that you are not being restricted to a time interval. You don't want that. It gives you the true flexibility that you're seeking. Make sure that your contract gives you control over your IP. I can't tell you how many times Erin has had a team have to swoop in and clean up a website, get control over assets where clients have lost control of their assets to another vendor. They don't have the website. They don't have the domain name. It's really a nightmare. Now, here's the thing about that. You don't have to be the person or the company that creates all the systems. Look to the systems that your vendor has to make sure that they're giving you control and the information that you need, and it should be inherent in their system. Don't just look at the deliverable, look at the full operational support system that they're providing you. So, Erin, in the many years that you've been doing this, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen that people and businesses make when they are using outsourced services?
I would say common mistakes that I've seen is that when a company is selecting an outsourced company, that they're not really exploring who that company is. They're not understanding the level of expertise that that company provides. You want to make sure that you have a company that is delivering on the certain key deliverables that you have sought to delivering on certain key deliverables that are important to you. It's also that it's being important to understand the contract. What's in the contract? Is the contract going to be flexible and agile to your needs? Is it protecting your assets? Again, we've spent a lot of time talking about that. What is the contract? Are you getting into something that's going to last a year? Are you on demand? With Crazy Good Marketing, I'm proud to say that we have a contract that can be renegotiated and can be terminated if need be very quickly, but we're not holding our clients to retainers. So that kind of information is important to consider. Are you on a retainer? Is there a certain amount of monthly expectation and fees? Just understanding where those hidden fees are. You never know where there's hidden fees. So really understanding the contract from that perspective too. And I would also say that it's important to consider the HR perspective, and you being with HR, that's a perfect thing that segueing to you and understanding that fit.
By the way, I think that's an interesting thing about that. When you are outsourcing a function or a task that is normally provided by somebody else on your team, get HR involved, because one of the things that does matter here, there are IRS rules about whether a function, can it be, you bring somebody in under contract or a function, is this an employee or is this a contractor? So make sure that you're involving HR in the selection as well as the management process. You know what, Erin, I'm going to say it's been a joy to have you here today. I really appreciate you being here. And I, of course, love working with you. So for all of you, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you've learned a couple of things about outsourcing contracting. And remember, we air every Tuesday at 3 p.m., that's Mountain Time, on IPTV. Or you can also find us on Eye to Eye Workforce's Facebook. And it is facebook.com/hire results. You miss a show, don't worry about it. Visit us on our website, eyetoeyeworkforce.com/hire-results. Until now, we'll see you on the internet.